Morning, how are you? Good, I hope. Well, this week's video is slightly different than our usual vlogs. As you know, Anthony and myself are continuous cruisers. We sold our house and we live on a narrowboat and we cruise around the canals and rivers of the UK. We don't have a home mooring, we don't have a linear mooring, and we don't go into a marina. Maybe a couple of times a year we might pop in for a few days just to balance our batteries and have a break from the muddy tow paths. Oh, Sebastian's gone just a sec. Sorry, Sebastian was trying to get in the pond at the side of the canal. So if you've ever thought of selling your house and moving onto a narrowboat to live and a change of lifestyle, then stick around. Come in. Go on in. There are roughly 30,000 people living on the UK waterways, either on the canals, the rivers, or on the coastline. And does it ever get crowded? Well, there is that worry, but to be honest, our experience of living on the waterways, it never has felt crowded, especially around central England and the northwest of England. And sometimes it can be really quiet and you don't see anyone for a full day. Well, if you stick around, we've got your questions and answers coming up. Living on a narrowboat can be really appealing. The slower pace of life, that sense of community, being immersed in nature, and the peace and quiet itself. But is it all plain sailing or cruising as it should be known? We asked our viewers to get in touch and we hope that you find these answers useful. Thanks to everyone that sent in questions, and we're going to try and answer as many as we can. Right, here goes. I'll never remember all these, so you'll have to excuse my phone. TJ Bull. My partner and I are thinking of leaving bricks and mortar and starting a boat adventure. We have sons aged 2 and 5 and I've heard of people doing it, but none of them make content. Are we crazy? Well, first of all, Chugabug, Gary and Nikki, they make vlogs and they've got a son and a daughter. And there's also the four boys on a narrowboat. They make vlogs as well. So I'll leave a link to those videos there. But yeah, are you crazy? I don't think so. It can be a great lifestyle. And I know that some people homeschool their children from the boat when they're doing that. And yeah, and the Bluebells as well. They've got a son and daughter. So look out for them. They're on Facebook. The next question is from Brian Conroy. 5 years of putting yourselves out there for all comers to have their say, good or bad. How has this experience been for you both? Well, good is the short answer. It's sort of an icebreaker. If we're going down the canal or walking along the canal and somebody sees us who knows us from the channel, they can say hello and just starts a conversation rolling. And we've made some really good friends through that. The bad side of it, is there a bad side? Yeah, I guess you're leaving yourself open for criticism online. And we saw that especially after the breach at Whitchurch, when some articles were posted on Facebook and people just attacked us for whatever reason. Just green-eyed monsters, that's all I could think it is, because they don't know us. Some of the things they're saying were horrible, attacking us personally about the way we look, about our lifestyle choices, calling us thieves for setting up the GoFundMe. But at the end of the day, it's all water off a duck's back because we just focus on the positive comments and the nice viewers that we've got. But yeah, good question. Thanks for that. Penny Burton. When you have a brand new shiny boat, are there people on the canals who think you're a bit posh and don't see you as proper boaters, or is everyone accepting of each other? Well, yes. There's a certain band of boaters that call us boat polishers because we go out cleaning the boat all the time. I don't get it. If I saw somebody with a new car, I wouldn't shout out the window abuse that, you know, oh, you're a car polisher, you've got a shiny new car. No matter how old your boat is, I think you should look after it, and I can't see any shame in that. For us personally, we're accepting of everybody. It doesn't matter what their boat looks like, what they look like. We made that mistake when we first started cruising, that we'd see a boat and we'd see somebody covered in tattoos and a beard, and you just think, oh, I'll stay away. But then I'm embarrassed to say that those people, when we got talking to them, are absolutely lovely. So never judge a book by its cover. That's our motto. There are some really great characters out on the canals. So Pauline Watts, hi Pauline, you're about to embark on your third new boat. What learnings are you taking with you into its design and fit out? Well, first of all, the new boat's going to have a round stern. It's 58 feet long, which we think is a go anywhere boat, because although we manage on this 60-foot boat, sometimes it can be a little bit of a struggle. It's a bit tight doing some of the locks. We're going for flat solar panels on the new boat, and I know the bonded ones look nicer and you can walk on them, but the flat ones are far more efficient. We're going for a water freedom system on the new boat. Whether we drink that water or not, time will tell, but we're quite happy to do that because we know tests have been done and that water has been tested and it's purer than the tap water that you get from a water point, the Canal River Trust water point. So yeah, that would be great because we don't need to fill our tank every time we pass a water point. We can have long showers if we want to. We probably won't. We'll probably still get a navy shower. But yes, good question. Anything else? Yeah, we're going for a 4-blade prop, we think, rather than a 3-blade prop. Yeah, you'll have to wait and see, Paul. But yeah, this being our third boat, we've really learned what works for us as continuous cruisers and what's important. Skylights, that's a good example. We're just getting one small skylight on this next boat over the dinette. Lucy Fuller, hello Lucy. On your travels, what are your top pubs for a good meal and something to drink? There are too many to think of, but I really like the Admiral Nelson. I really like the Mucky Duck at Fradley Junction. There's a fabulous pub. I think that's the Anchor Inn on the Shropshire Union Canal. It's a real oldie worldy pub. That's a really good one. I tell you where the staff are brilliant and really friendly and the food is good is the Barbridge Inn, the old Barbridge Inn as well on the Shropshire Union Canal. We like that one. Not that we do a lot of eating and drinking. Mostly now, cafes. We don't even eat cake. So Mooching Ash Lad and the Grockles. I think I know who that is. Do you get condensation? And if so, how do you combat it? What's your preference for window covers? Can you seal your windows with cork without tearing the existing cork? Mould has grown on the white seals around our windows. Well, we've not had mould growing on the white seal around the windows. I think the fact that it's white probably shows up more. We've got black cork on ours. I think that's pretty standard. I think everyone gets condensation. If you're in a metal tube and it's really cold outside and really warm on your boat, you're going to get condensation. It does help if you've got a dry heat from a solid fuel fire. What we tend to do, we tend to roll up cloths, dishcloths, and sit them on the window frame itself, and it does seem to stop any condensation. Yeah, just let lots of air in your boat. We've also bought a dehumidifier, which has been fantastic, and a big thank you to Phil and Marianne for that idea. It was actually our it was actually the dehumidifier on wheels that rolled across the boat and smashed into the wall in the early hours of the breach on the 22nd of December. I think that's what woke us up, to be honest. But it's got a big, it stands about this tall, it's about that wide, and yeah, that deep. We plug it in, leave it overnight, and you'll be amazed it can collect that much water overnight. It's also got a setting on it where you can dry your laundry, and we've now got a pole that stretches across the boat. We hang our laundry in front of the fire and we put this t-shirt setting on and it dries in a day. It's fantastic. It's a revelation because it saves us driving to the laundrettes all the time, and it does cut down on condensation. I guess really just let plenty of air in your boat. We've also got some heater tubes, greenhouse heater tubes in our wardrobes and under the bed, and that helps as well to keep everything dry and condensation away. Deborah Thika, hi Deborah. Laundry, do you use your onboard washing machine for everything? How do you get the laundry dry? Well, just explained how we get the laundry dry. In the spring and summer, obviously, we've got a stern and we hang the laundry up on the stern, and it's surprising, a bit of sunshine, how warm it gets. It's like a little conservatory, and yeah, that really does help. And we do have a washing machine on board. We're getting a washer dryer on the new boat, and I know people have mixed results with them, and what they tend to do is overload it, put the full load of washing to dry. So we know we've got to do that in dribs and drabs. So the following people asked a similar question: Sandy Neal, Barry Gibson and Anne Wellington. Is there one canal you haven't travelled yet, and why do you yearn to cruise it? We'd love to do the Birmingham Canal. We like Birmingham as a city, there are great places to eat, and it's just a really nice place to be. And we've got relatives not far from Birmingham. I guess for us, because Anthony's still working, it would be difficult to keep a vehicle in Birmingham and for him to travel to work every week. And we really want to do the Thames as well. And for the same reasons, it's probably too far at the moment with Anthony working to travel, and also where does he keep a vehicle? But yeah, we can't wait to do that. And also the Lancaster, we were going to do that in 2025, the Ribble link and over to Lancaster, but we couldn't do it for various reasons. I think that was closed, but also the Bridgewater meant we couldn't get there. So yeah, we're dying to do the Lancaster, maybe on the new boat. Talking of cars, Tom Wilkinson has said, we're buying a boat next year and we're wondering, I guess that's this year, we're wondering if we should keep a car and how easy is it to manage. Well, we do a thing called bridge hopping, you may have seen on past videos. Anthony's got a bike, it's an e-bike that he keeps locked up in a bow. If we move for 3 or 4 hours, it's usually only 3 or 4, maybe 5 miles. So it's never a massive distance either to walk or cycle back. He'll pick up his vehicle and bring it along to the next available bridge where there's parking. And we've never struggled as much as we thought. It's more difficult on rivers because sometimes you can find somewhere to park your vehicle, but you can't actually get to your boat because it's on the wrong side of the river. And that happened to us on the River Avon, actually. So yeah, it can be a bit of a bind. I know Anthony wants to get rid of his vehicle when he finishes work. We get our online groceries delivered to a local pub or a canal landmark, a cafe or whatever. So yeah, that's quite easy to do. So yeah, it would be nice not to have a vehicle. I guess it's handy, but yeah, it can be a bit of a bind. And then sometimes if it's a really long distance, like when we're in Leeds, I think it's about 14 miles back to the car and you couldn't go alongside the river anyway. What we did was get an Uber back for the vehicle. So yeah, it can be done. Katie Ackroyd, what camera do you use to record your videos? What one piece of clothing has been valuable to you on the 5 years on the canal? For us, it's our Rab jackets. I know they're expensive, but the featherlight ones we love because they're really compact, really light obviously, and really, really warm. You need a waterproof on top of it if it's raining. So yeah, some good waterproof boots we definitely recommend as well. But yeah, our Rab jackets, the last one I had, I think you probably saw on the vlog, I think I had that for about 5 years. We've now invested in new ones just because they're more colourful and the others were starting to look a bit tatty. Camera, I've usually shot on a Canon M50 with a really good Sigma lens, a 16mm lens. But recently, I've really wanted a Sony camera. I won't say which model because it's really expensive, but it's definitely on the top of our wish list and I think it would be fantastic, and we're hoping that you will notice a difference in the vlogs when we start using that Sony camera. Tamsin Wheeler and Michael Jones. What's the best and worst canals that you've travelled on, and which canal would you recommend for a first time boater who hires a narrowboat? Either the Ashby or the Colden as a first time hirer, but also the Llangollen. I know some of that's closed at the moment, but there's quite a lot of lock-free travelling on those canals, especially the Ashby. It's beautiful. And yeah, we were blown away last year when we travelled on the Ashby. Yeah, I think they're the ones that I would recommend personally. The Ashby, the Colden, and especially the Ashby and the Llangollen Canal. There's quite a lot of lift bridges and they're quite hard to work, but yeah, not as many locks. We've been living on a narrowboat just over 5 years, and when I say narrow, it really is narrow, just over 2 meters wide. As you can see, I can touch both sides. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the downright ugly side of living on a narrowboat. And do we still enjoy it after 5 years?
I guess these next few things could be classed as the bad side of narrowboating. The first one, it's very physically demanding. You've got lift bridges to operate, you've got to pull your boat in when you're mooring up, you sometimes have to climb up the lock ladders, and you've often got to go down into the weed hatch to retrieve rubbish. And as you can see, some of the locks are pretty hard going. Depending on the size of the water tank on your boat, you've got to top up with water every week or two. Get rid of your own rubbish and empty your own toilet. And it can get noisy living on a boat depending on where you're moored, but if you get strong winds and storms, your boat's going to creak and the covers are going to rattle and the towpaths get pretty muddy. Wintertime cruising on the canals can be difficult because you can get fallen trees, and you've also got planned winter closures, and as we've seen recently, unplanned winter closures. It can get expensive to keep your boat maintained, and like here, when we've bent the propeller, the boat's got to be lifted out of the water, and every 2 to 3 years you've got to have the boat re-blacked. And lifting the boat out is an expense too. And wintertime can bring its own set of challenges, with freezing temperatures, frozen canals and treacherous conditions. I moored the boat up on the Leeds-Liverpool Canal as we were about to enter the Fulridge Tunnel, and I slipped on the side and fell in the canal. It was freezing. And then you've got the mud to contend with. But don't forget, if all this gets too much for you, you can always put your boat into a marina, and that's what some people do for the winter months. Even summer can bring its challenges, as we saw in 2025. With rising temperatures, your boat gets really hot and the water levels were really low and caused drought conditions, and again, closures. And now for the plus points, and there are plenty of them. Ever-changing scenery, beautiful locations, brand new walks on your doorstep. What's not to love about the British countryside? And you can just moor your boat up more or less anywhere. There's many a time that we've walked just a few hundred yards from the towpath and discovered gems like this. It's nice to revisit your favourite places along the canal. And the icing on the cake for us are the friends that we make. And now for the downright ugly. You can get some grumpy boaters, and you can get some abusive fishermen, especially on lock landings, but thankfully these are few and far between. In some locations you'll find lots of dog poo on the towpath, which is a real shame. And yes, sometimes near the canals you get rats, but thankfully Anthony and myself have only ever seen 1 or 2 in 5 years. You've got to deal with your own toilet waste, and some of the Elsan points aren't that pleasant. And some of the canals can be quite dirty places, and if you fall in and you've got an open wound, you could get wheals disease. But for us, the good points far outweigh the bad and the ugly points. And yes, after 5 years of living aboard, we still love the lifestyle. Right, let's get back to those questions.
Michael Brown. Hi Anthony and Paul, do you find you have to be extra creative when making meals if you find you're missing certain ingredients and it's not practical to get to a shop? Yeah, Anthony's very good at winging it. He does get a lot of recipes from books, but he's also very good at making up recipes, and we tend to keep everything on a shopping list if we forget anything, and yeah, that's quite handy. And also, if you're traveling with friends, it's amazing if you run out of milk or you run out of sugar, whatever you run out of, some spices, you've got friends moored near you. They've usually got something. We were always knocking on Pete and Caroline's boat from One Day More, and we're always knocking on Phil's boat, and vice versa. They sometimes knock on ours and say, have you got some sugar or have you got some coffee? I'm always running out of coffee. So yeah, thanks for that, Michael. Mark Stewart. Hi Mark. Did you know Sebastian was going to be so huge when you got him? No. We met his parents. They were slightly bigger than our last dog Dexter, we thought. We picked Sebastian at maybe a week old. We saw him at 8 weeks old, and we saw him just before that at 6 weeks old. His paws were massive, we've got to admit, and he started to grow really rapidly, and he's slightly bigger than his mum and dad. So yeah, we're a bit shocked, but we still think he's a perfect size. Sebastian's a Labradoodle, in case you're wondering. A lot of people ask us that, and he's just turned 1. And he's really settled into boat life because he's not known anything else. He just loves it. And talking of Dexter, our last dog, Derek Dexter. Hi Derek. How do you find the constant moving on the 48-hour moorings, or do you try and find 5 or 7 day moorings? Some canals, like the Shropshire Union, have a 48-hour mooring rule, especially in the spring and summer. And we found that really difficult because Anthony was going off to work. I would have to do quite a lot of cruising on my own. So we were overstaying 48 hours. And there were quite a lot of locks to do then as well. In the winter time, most of the moorings revert to 14 days, and it's so much easier, so much more relaxing as well. So I think we've been here, we're moving this weekend, but we've been here around bar, where are we again? Near Venetian Marina. So if we're more at the top of the locks and then we drop down below the locks, we can fill with fuel, get water. We're moving on at the weekend and we're not sure if we're going to Nantwich or going towards Middlewich. But yeah, we do try and find longer moorings if we can. The more popular villages like Lymm, Parbold, Brood, they've all got 40-hour moorings because they are very popular villages, and we can understand that. Thanks for that, Derek. Elizabeth Poland, is it harder on your relationship living in a confined space? Where do you go for some me time? My husband and I plan to move from Australia for a more serene and less stressful life on the canals, but I worry how our relationship will handle it. It can be more stressful, and I think more the confined space is what causes the stress, because we may both be, I might want to make a coffee, Anthony's trying to make lunch, and I get under his feet, or Sebastian will get under your feet when you're in the galley. So that's quite stressful. But it's surprising that if Anthony can sit in the saloon and watch a film, he's quite happy doing that. If I'm sat here at the diner doing my artwork and I've got my headphones on and I can listen to my own music or chat to Anthony, which he loves if he's watching TV. But yeah, I'm sure you'll be fine. I think you do have to have a strong relationship to live in a confined space like this. But, you know, you can always go for a nice walk. You can meet up with friends, go to a cafe. I think it's probably good that Anthony's still working a few days a week, because that, I think everyone needs a break now and again. And these couples that say they never argue, I don't know any of them personally. Peter Fuller, hi Peter. What's your favourite board game or card game? And also, what body wax do you use on your boat, of course? Congratulations on your 5 years afloat. Thanks, Peter. We really like Uno and Uno Flip, and Pete and Caroline introduced us to that. We recently got Scrabble, which we've been doing in the winter, but yeah, I'm a bit of a sore loser. Get a bit stroppy if I start losing at cards. And Anthony usually wins at Scrabble because he's a better speller than I am. He probably just knows more words than I do. What body wax do we use? We use Williams waterless car wash. You spray it on, rub it on, and then buff it off. And we've always found that to be really good. It's hard work though, polishing a 60-foot long boat, but yeah, that's what we use. Thanks for that, Peter. Lynn Taggart, hi Lynn. I always wonder how long it took you to learn enough about your new life not to panic when nearing a lock or a mooring. How long did it take you to become confident in all of those skills? It's like anything else really. Within a few weeks of doing the locks, we got used to those. Cruising on our own, we got used to that. We did try and take it in turns at the tiller, because when we used to hire a boat years ago, I wasn't very good at, if there was a boat coming towards us, I'd panic a bit. And I think that's quite a common thing. But the more you do it, it's like driving. The more you drive, the more confident you become. I remember the first time, a couple of months on the boat, where I had to move the boat myself through a swing bridge, go into a marina, fill with water, reverse out and go back through the swing bridge. My heart was in my mouth, but I managed it, and it just fills you with confidence. The same as when I've done locks on my own. I was nervous at the time, but you just take your time. Usually there's somebody around to help anyway, and it just, everything you do like that just builds up your confidence. So thanks for that, Lynn. Tracy Lydon, when do we get to see a new boat? Well, funny enough, I'm going over to see the new boat this week. Anthony's going to stay here and look after Sebastian, but I'm going, and he's got work as well. And when he's at work, my parents are going to look after him. But yeah, I'm going to go and see the boat this week and do some filming. And we're hoping, I think we said on last week's video, that the new boat's ready at the end of March. It will definitely be ready before the Crick Boat Show at the end of May, because we're taking it down there to show. But thanks for that, Tracy. Deborah Williams, are there moody people on the canals? Well, me, when I'm losing board games. But yes, 99% of boaters are very friendly and really lovely. But some people on the canals choose this lifestyle because they're loners and they want to be left on their own. And there's nothing wrong with that, I guess. So yeah, if you say good morning to someone and they completely ignore you, don't take it personally. It's just some people like to be on their own, I guess, like in normal community. And some of these people can have problems. You know, we met a guy, he was lovely, but he told us that he had PTSD and some days he just doesn't speak to people. But he was lovely with us and he was really nice to chat to. So yeah, there are the odd moody person on the canal. Good question. George Moore, fantastic name. I spent a week's holiday on a narrowboat about 20 years ago and I loved every minute of it. Went with two other couples and my wife who were not as impressed as I was. I would love to do it again, but with my son doing most of the work. He's 63. What is the easiest and prettiest canal with pubs on which to spend a week or so? I don't mind a few locks, but I don't want to kill him. Well, first of all, good luck on your narrowboat holiday. And I think I mentioned before, the Ashby Canal is really nice. Not many locks. Trying to think where else that's lock free. I mean, if you were brave enough, I don't know if you can do that on a hire boat. You could do the River Weaver if the Anderton boat lift was open. The River Soar I loved, but yeah, we're getting carried away here. I think, yeah, the Ashby Canal is probably one of the easier ones to do. Right, so questions from patrons. Jason and Marie. Hi guys. What's the furthest you've had to walk or cycle back for the van, and how was the weather? Do you prefer to travel alone or in a larger group? Well, when we first started boating, we would see people going out with friends on their boats and they'd travel together for months and we just didn't get it until we did it ourselves. And the first time we travelled with anyone properly was with Pete and Caroline from One Day More, and we travelled up to the Peak Forest Canal, back down the Macclesfield and all the way to Crick and all the way to Stratford upon Avon, and we loved every minute of it. We had such a nice time with them, and we were quite sad when we went our separate ways, as you can probably tell from my voice. But yeah, it's fantastic travelling with people. We're travelling with Phil at the moment and Pete and Lucy. Again, you know, if you need somebody to look after the dog, they'll look after the dog. If you need something from the shop, they'll get something when they go shopping. So it can be very handy. But also, we like to travel on our own and more up on our own in the middle of nowhere. You can't beat it. It just reminds us of when we first started boating and it was still lockdown really, and we just moored somewhere really quiet and you'd have the whole place to yourself. And you could hear the birds sing in the morning. That's nice as well. The furthest we've walked for the van. Well, Anthony cycled back for the van. I think it was 13 miles to Stone. And when he got there, the car park was locked. So we had to cycle all the way back. So that wasn't much fun for him. And yeah, we have had some bad weather as well, but we tend to leave it for a day or two if the weather's bad and we don't need the vehicle. Kimberly Mall and Jay O'Neill. Hi guys. How are your eyes? And are you going to spend winter close to Anthony's work? Well, winter's nearly over because we should have filmed this on the 22nd of December, but we all know what happened on the 22nd of December. My eyes are fine now, thank you. I finally got some readers and some distant glasses after my cataract and detached retina surgery, which I'm finding brilliant. I tried varifocals and I just couldn't cope with them, especially stepping off the boat and messing around locks. No, not good. Sean McPherson, hi Sean. What are your favourite to-do hickeys? Sean's from America. To have on board to make life easier. I'm asking because we may need as many recommendations as possible for a new boat in 2026. Well, for us, kitchen roll for wiping any condensation on the windows. We've got a little sponge for condensation on the windows. The little cloths that we put out on the windows as well in case of condensation. The pole that we've now got, an extending pole, we put our hangers on, and the dehumidifier. That works brilliantly and I can't believe we've lived without it for so long. We also have a small karcher for when we've showered. We clean out the shower every morning and that helps to keep condensation down. And I guess apps on our phone. So you've got Canal Plan, which isn't an app, that's a web-based thing. But yeah, we love that. And Open Canal, which is an app. And also, what 3 words? I think if anyone's going to meet you, or you've got any shopping deliveries, or you want to know where you've left your vehicle, what 3 words on the phone is really handy. So anyway, good luck on your boat in 2026. Scott Deuser, hi Scott. Anthony, how's your guitar playing going? And did we ever anticipate Sebastian getting as big as he has? I think we've already answered that one, but Anthony's guitar playing, that's his guitar just here. It's not, if I'm honest. He's had a couple of tries and that's it. Who'd have guessed? When he watches this. He has got a lot of hobbies. Ad Williams, my question for Paul. Do you ever feel isolated when Anthony's in work? Yes and no. If we've got friends more near us, or even if it could be a viewer or a boater that knows us and we moor up, it doesn't feel like you're on your own. Does that make sense? And I've got Sebastian to keep me company as well. I didn't like my first night on the boat on my own, to be honest, but nothing happened. And again, it just becomes the norm. I think in winter, if I'm on my own and the weather's awful, I can get a little bit down and feel a little bit isolated. But yeah, you just need a bit of sunshine, picks you up. And I just crack on with my artwork. So we've got some questions from our channel members. Austin. Hi Austin, congratulations, that 5 years went so quickly. Angie and I are about to start our first year. My question is about kitchen storage. How long can you go without food shopping, and how do you store enough fresh groceries to last you, particularly in summer? You don't really need to stock up as much as you would think living on a boat. We did on our first week out. We thought we wouldn't pass a shop for weeks, but there are supermarkets sometimes next to the canal. There are farm shops next to the canal. And like I said, we can do an online shop and get that delivered to a local pub or a marina. Yeah, so there are ways around it. Kitchen storage, we've only got a small fridge on this boat with a freezer compartment, and we've got a small freezer under the dinette. We're hoping to have a bigger fridge on the new boat with a slightly bigger freezer under the dinette. So I think that would be good. But you can also get drawers under the kitchen units, which is what we've got, the kick drawers. You can store all sorts in there, bottles of wine, tins, implements for cooking. That's really good as well. And obviously in winter, if you've got an airtight box, you can store veg in there on your stern. So yeah, good question, and good luck guys with your boat. Joanne Morris. Hi Joanne. After 5 years aboard and loving the lifestyle, what would you do if you could no longer manage on the canals? Would you get a permanent mooring, or would you return to a house? Right Joanne, I had this discussion just the other day with someone. We love this lifestyle. If we couldn't manage the canals because of ill health, we'd probably get a wide beam and get a linear mooring. So we're still living on the water and we've not got all the hard work of the canals and moving the boat and pulling the boat in. Or a narrowboat on a linear mooring. But yeah, I think that's what we would do, to be honest, because I can't imagine us going back to bricks and mortar now. Lianini, I think it is. Hiya. I still thinking of changing the name of the channel? No, because we spoke to David from Cruising the Cut and he said that would be stupid. So we're not changing the name of the channel. Will your new boat be called Morning Star? No, it won't be called Morning Star. We have picked a new name and we're going to reveal that when the boat is painted and we've got the sign writer on the boat. Yeah, we can't wait to share that with you. Do you watch other vloggers? And if so, do you have any current favourites? Well, we try and watch all our friends. We try and watch all our friends that vlog. So I won't name any names in case I miss anybody out. But we try and watch as many as we can. And we also like Yorkshire Pop Top Adventures, Colin. He's really funny. I can't believe he's not got more followers than he has, because his videos are just brilliant. So yeah, look out for the Yorkshire Pop Top Adventures. And we also watch a lot of camper vanners, and I personally watch a lot of landscape, nature photographers, and anybody that does photography in their vlogs. So camper vanners usually. But yes, we like to mix it up a little. We love this lifestyle, but it's not for everybody. It can be a real adjustment, and it's difficult going from a house to a space this tiny if you're used to a massive house and loads of belongings and you don't want to give that up. Maybe get a leisure craft and put it in a marina and just use it when you can. But yeah, as a continuous cruiser, we absolutely love this lifestyle, especially in winter when it snows. We love all the seasons, to be honest. They've all got their pluses. But if you're the kind of person that can get down because of the rain and the mud and having to clean out your own toilet, empty your own rubbish and fill your tank with water every week or two, I guess it could be really challenging. And like I say, it's not for everybody. If you're thinking about doing it, I would suggest hiring a boat for a week. that's a similar length to the one you're thinking of living on, and see if you can cope with that space, and especially if you can cope with the bad weather that we tend to get in the UK. So maybe hire around autumn or winter time, and if you still enjoy it, then I would probably suggest giving it a go. Oh, you may want to check out our video 10 reasons not to live on a narrowboat. I will leave a link here in this week's vlog. And if you've got any questions yourself that we've not answered today, get in touch and we'll be glad to answer them. Well, that's it. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, give it a like. Don't forget to subscribe. It's completely free. And keep your comments coming. And we'll see you next time. Bye for now.